Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. If you're not using the Bet Rivers app, you're missing out. And right now, we've got a great deal for you. The Cavs are battling for home court. Didn't go well yesterday. We'll get to that in a minute. In the Eastern Conference, and Bet Rivers is giving you a bonus bet to use on the Cavs in this stretch run. But you're running out of time. Now through March the 15th, that's this coming Sunday, go to your Bet Rivers app in Ohio and use the code ATB223 to get a $10 bonus bet. That code again is ATB223. Available only in Ohio. Must be 21. Eligible players only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Take advantage of that deal for all of you today. If you haven't downloaded the app, do so. If you have downloaded the app, use the code and get the bonus bet. Okay, let's begin with the Cavaliers, who had a brutal loss on Sunday, 109-98 at home against the Boston Celtics. The Cavs got off to a kind of a fast start in the first few minutes. Evan Mobley looked great, and really, overall, I mean, if you look at it, Evan Mobley had a pretty solid game. But overall, the Cavs played very poorly. It was all Boston from the late first quarter to the end of the half. The second half was, fairly even. The Cavs actually outscored the Celtics in the second half and did make a couple of runs there in the third and fourth quarter. But in the end, a dominant second quarter in which the Cavs only scored 10 points. They had 36 at halftime. The Celtics had 35 at the end of the first quarter. And the Cavs lose 109-98 the final. They shot 29% from three, 41% from the field. If you take out Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, they went 19 for 37. The rest of the team shooting the ball 16 for 49. That's under 33% from the field. Just terrible. It was a rough day for the bench. Jalen Tyson, coming off the bench, led with 8 points, but Keon Ellis didn't do much in 24 minutes. It was just a bad game. Sam Merrill was off. He was terrible. Dean Wade gave them very little in 21 minutes on the floor. James Harden, he was okay. And Donovan couldn't hit the three. He was good from inside the 3-point line, where he was 6 of 9 and 9 of 11 from the free throw line. But Jared Allen out of the mix, and just not a good game by the Cavs. In the end, they were doomed by that just brutal second quarter, and they'll be back in action tonight. No rest for the weary. They'll play the Sixers at home tonight, trying to get back on track off that loss. The Cavs have been up and down lately. They've actually lost 4 of their last 7 games. But the 2 of the 3 wins were against the Knicks, and they beat the Pistons, split 2 games with the Pistons, obviously. They're playing a Sixer team that would be a play-in team right now, but is not playing particularly well. So that's what they've got, and we've got a month to go in the regular season. The Cavs have played 64 games, which means they have 18 games left. They'll play 4 games this week, tonight at home against Philly, at Orlando Wednesday, at Dallas Friday, and then back home next Sunday to play Dallas again. Most of the tough opponents on the schedule have now passed. You got a couple of games with Orlando. You got the Lakers. Miami's playing pretty well. They'll play them later in the year. Golden State's okay. Atlanta's playing pretty well, but who knows where they'll be. By the time they play Atlanta, it's the final week of the season. So April 12th, the regular season comes to an end. So that's what? We got 4 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 5 weeks. 5 weeks left in the regular season before we mercifully get to the postseason. It's the final month or so of the regular season is pretty tough. I wouldn't, it's a bad game for the Cavs. I said last week that I expect them to just stay in that 4 seed. Not that they couldn't move up or even in theory move down, but it looks even more likely. Although they're only a game and a half back of the Knicks for third and only 1 game in the loss column, they certainly can switch there. But Boston's really cooking right now. They're only 2.5 games back of the Pistons, 3 in the loss column, but the Pistons have hit their first slump of the year. They've lost 4 in a row. It started with that when they lost that second Cavs game. Then they got smoked by the Spurs, but then their last 2 games, they lost to the Nets at home and then lost by double digits in Miami. So they've lost 4 in a row. They'll play the Nets again tomorrow. So we'll see if Detroit can deal with the adversity, which they haven't really had to deal with at all. They've lost 4 in a row, 5 of 8. And they've had a tough schedule of late. So who knows what's going to happen with Detroit. They still have, let's see what their schedule looks like. They still got Golden State, the Lakers, a game with Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Orlando. But, so they've got still some tough games too. So we'll see how it all plays itself out. But the Cavs most likely going to be the 4 seed. I think, certainly a chance they'd be the 3 and hop over the Knicks. We'll have to see how that goes. I think they're very unlikely to move more or higher than that. I think they're unlikely to drop, although they're only 2 ahead of Toronto in the loss column. But I just don't see them playing poorly enough to fall behind Toronto or well enough to pass anybody but the Knicks down the stretch. You'd think the Pistons would right the ship, but who knows? Listen, the Pistons, I think a lot of people, myself included, felt like they overachieved for most of this year. So if they, just play solid basketball the rest of the way, a little more up and down, I guess it wouldn't be that big of a surprise. All right. Obviously, NFL free agency gets underway today. I'm going to save that for tomorrow. Dustin and I will be live at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, and we'll break down all the day one excitement of free agency. Technically, nothing is official till Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Keep that in mind. But the official tampering period begins at noon today, and if you're listening to this, it's probably after that. There's been some action today, nothing involving the Browns, but not yet at least. But I'm sure there will be. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. All right, let me get to your questions. It's a Q&A Monday. We get to this every Monday. Eddie Everhart with a 2-part question. Eddie starts with, and Eddie, I like your new picture on your Twitter. I don't know if somebody drew that for you, if that's AI version of you. It's really cool. I like that. Eddie says, if you ran the Guardians and were given an extra $100 million for payroll, would you rather get 2 $50 million guys or 5 $20 million guys? And who would you go after, assuming they were free agents? Now, this is such an open-ended question that it's nearly impossible to answer. Now, with the Guardians, I think what in a perfect world, it's hard to say. I guess I just would take the 2 $50 million guys. I think the best use of resources might be 3 $33 million guys. But between those choices, I'm going to take the 2 $50 million guys, get 2 superstars. Because if you added 2 superstars to this lineup, the pitching's good enough. I could go 333 and get a top pitcher to go with 2 very good hitters. That might be the way to go. But if I had to choose between 2 $50 million players and 5 $20 million players for the Guardians, most teams it would make sense to go the 2 $50 million players. For the Guardians specifically, it makes a lot of sense because they don't need a ton of depth. They just need 2 elite guys to mix with. If you had 2 other Jose Ramirez level players, let's say you had, I can't even go Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani. Those guys are just, they're like 70 million. Even Soto, who's not, to me, is not a good, Juan Soto's not as good a player as Jose Ramirez, but I'll say if you could add Cal Raleigh and Kyle Schwarber there you go. And that's not even, I could still get a pitcher. I could get Cal Raleigh, Kyle Schwarber in theory, and I could sign whatever pitcher. I could sign Skubal. Can I get Skubal, Schwarber, and Cal Raleigh for $100 million a year? I think I could. I get Skubal for I don't know who the highest paid pitcher is right now. It will be Skubal, but I'll say he gets $40 million a year. Schwarber, I think, is getting 30, and Cal Raleigh, give him 30. There you go. That's what I do. If you had Kyle Schwarber, Cal Raleigh, and Tarek Skubal on the Guardians, they're as good as anybody. But you can say that with any team. But that's my cheat code there. But if it's only two guys, I'll say Raleigh and Schwarber. There you go. I don't have to pay, and I still have some money left over, potentially, because I'm not paying them $50 million each. There's not many $50 million baseball players. There's a few, but there's not that many. The second part of Eddie's question, do you feel playoff stats should be included in career stats? I feel like not including them punishes some players because others weren't on good enough teams. I just think you have to keep it separately. I don't think they should be included. Then they get lost, right? If you include them in regular season stats, they get lost. So I like keeping the playoff stats separately. And so, no, I would not change how they currently do that in baseball. NCNEOPTO, bro. Asks if I saw the Tokyo Dome ice cream sandwich. He then sent it to me. It looks awesome, but I've now seen it, but I obviously haven't eaten it. He also asked Bull, when flying, what's better, window seat or aisle seat? I mean, to me, it's not even close. I'm always an aisle seat guy. Now, I'm fat. I'm having my surgery next week, so hopefully I won't be as fat down the line, but every fat guy knows aisle seat is the way to go. You don't want it. I don't want it. Certainly a middle is the worst. We know that. But I'm not the window seat. A lot of times it curves back in on you. So with the aisle seat, I could stretch out into the aisle a little bit. So we know that's the answer for me. He also asked, have I ever been to Gene's Place at Cam's Corner? Excellent old school diner. Of course. I have been to Gene's Place on Cam's Corner. It's been a while since I've been there. I used to go more regularly. When my son was really young, I would take him there. We'd go for breakfast on the weekend, like pretty regularly. And I just stopped going over the years. I don't go out for breakfast as much. Barry asks, Bull, you think the USA can win the World Baseball Classic? Of course they can. They're the favorites. I mean, obviously, Puerto Rico's really good. They're playing Mexico next, and Mexico's a good team. I mean, there's a lot of good teams. Obviously, the Dominican Republic, Japan, Korea, although I think Korea might get knocked out by Australia, which is a bit of an upset. Obviously, Japan beat Team USA at the last WBC, but the American team is way better than it was a few years ago. Japanese team is really good. I mean, I would think it comes down to Japan, Puerto Rico, DR, and the U.S. But I think the U.S. got a great chance to win. The pitching staff's fantastic. Guardians runs per game, over, under 3.5. It's a good question. Let's see. Last year, the Guardians, what did they average last year? I can't even remember how many runs they averaged per game. I'm going to say over 3.5 probably, but I just want to look at the numbers. So last year, the Guardians in the regular season scored 643 runs, divided by 162. They averaged just under 4 runs per game. I think the lineup will be better. It's a little better on paper with Rhys Hoskins. I say they average about, I think they'll be a little above that, so I'll go over the 3.5 runs per game, Barry. And I know we got a late entry. Let's Go Cavs says, have you ever been to the Wild Goose in Willoughby for pizza, and would you be willing to try one of their specialty pizzas? They're fantastic. I have not been to the Wild Goose in Willoughby. I've been to I think it's the Wild Goose downtown on Prospect, right down the block from where my old radio station was. I think it was also the Wild Goose. I assume they're related. I don't know. When you ask about specialty pizzas, you got to understand. I think this has to do with my man Nick Wilson put out a post about having a Reuben pizza. Okay? If you want to eat a Reuben pizza, that's fine. I would even eat something like that, but you can't call it pizza. Okay? If you're putting barbecue sauce or you're putting Russian dressing instead of pizza sauce, it's not a pizza. I'm sorry. A Reuben pizza, you call it somebody else. You want to call it a Reuben flatbread? You want to call it a Reuben pie? You call it whatever you want. Just don't call it a pizza. If you don't call it a pizza, I'll be open-minded to trying it. Now, I don't like Russian dressing, period. I won't eat Russian dressing. And dunking a pizza in any kind of dressing, Russian or ranch, is disgusting. It's anti-American, and I don't know what to tell you. Would I try specialty pizza? Sure, but I won't try anything that doesn't have pizza sauce. I know there's the white pizza that is traditional that doesn't have pizza sauce. But I can live with that. But I don't like that. I don't want it. If I'm eating a pizza, I want pizza sauce. Don't call it a pizza if it doesn't have pizza sauce. I will leave the white pizza exception. Now, you want to eat pineapple on a pizza, that's fine. To me, it's gross. I'm not putting fruit on a pizza. And don't give me this tomato bullshit. I get it, but I'm not putting pineapple on a pizza, even though I know people like it. To me, it's gross. I'm not interested in it. I will admit I don't think I've tried it. Maybe I did when I was younger. I have no idea. If you want pineapple, go. I love pineapple. It gives me heartburn now that I'm older, but I love pineapple. But don't put it on my pizza. But you want to eat it, eat whatever the hell you want. I won't kill you for it, but I think it's gross. And by the way, don't put green peppers on a pizza either. Completely unacceptable. Green peppers take away the taste of the pizza. I don't even like mushrooms, really, but I would eat mushrooms on a pizza before I would eat green peppers because you cannot taste anything else on the pizza if there's green peppers on a pizza. All you taste is the green peppers. This is the stuff you're not getting anywhere else, folks. Nowhere. All right, thanks for joining me today. Again, we'll be live Tuesday at 9 a.m. with Dustin, breaking down the first day of the tampering period, anything the Browns and all the other big news in the league. So join us live at 9 o'clock. Thanks to Levi and Ernie for producing today. Thanks to all of you for watching and listening. I'll be on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show today as well. We'll talk to you next time. Where else but right here in the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody.